Welcome, writers. And for this frequently answered question, I want to go over the answer to the question: how do I know if I'm doing fill in the blank right? So, the simple answer to that question is you don't, since there is no such thing as a single quote unquote correct way to do most things in life. Is something you can't ever know. What you might be able to figure out is what strategy is going to work best for you based on what your goals are and what resources you have available to you. Some strategies won't work well because you don't have the budget to fund them. Other methods will be less effective because you won't have the time needed to implement them. Still, other options may not be a good fit for you because you don't have the skills or knowledge needed to use them as effectively as possible. What works for another writer may nearly destroy your authorship. While it can be helpful to experiment to figure out what works best for you, don't be afraid to make customizations to whatever plan you try to adopt. For example, years ago when I was teaching a class at a local library, I spoke to the students present about doing self revisions. Since I have run into so many writers who get stuck in a revision loop when they stop too often during the self revision process, my standard recommendation is to read the manuscript all the way through at their normal reading speed and only stop to make a note about the things that they find. So these might say things like show here instead of telling, or can she have made it back to the castle from the caves in only half a day? Or add a few sentences here describing what she was wearing, and so on. This is a way for people who may otherwise find themselves spending an inordinate amount of time doing a single round of self revisions to move through the process a bit more quickly and efficiently. Once they have read the entire draft and left a series of notes, they can then go back to the beginning and start following the instructions that they left for themselves. One woman in the class called me some months after the session and told me that she'd made an adjustment to the strategy that made it work a lot better for her. What's funny is she thought I would be upset with her for doing this. But in my mind, there are multiple benefits. So, first, it shows that she was actually listening to me. It's difficult to make adjustments to something if you don't know what the original strategy was. So, that was flattering. Second, she was also listening when I expressed that this was a method, not the method, and that she was more than welcome, even encouraged, to make tweaks to what I proposed. Third, she now has a strategy to use for self revisions that works for her as a unique author in the world. This means she's better equipped to meet her goals so that she's more likely to achieve them. All of these are things to celebrate. And the same goes for you, writers. Be open to experimenting with different strategies for everything from planning and writing books to publishing and promoting your work. But if there's part of a method or process that you keep stumbling over, consider changing it to better suit your specific needs.